Good evening, and welcome to day 22 of the 24 days of Christmas. I have been live streaming for 22 days straight, 7 o'clock-ish every night, which has been great. It's been a lot of fun. Been reading through several different Christmas stories, starting with Christmas Carol, and then moving on to The Gift of the Magi, and then doing a short audiobook production demonstration, and now wrapping up the life and adventures of Santa Claus. If you have missed any of the previous episodes and want to go back and listen to any of those, by all means, I've got a playlist right here. It's on YouTube. I think YouTube has the best audio quality, the best video quality, and is just all around the best platform for this kind of thing. But you've probably seen me on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or any of the other platforms that I'm also streaming on at the same time. The quality is not as great, so all of the official recordings are on my YouTube channel right over there. As I'm narrating the book, you will see the book up on the screen. You'll also see a couple of QR codes. One goes to my Venmo, one goes to my coffee page, and both of them are set up so that you can buy me a coffee. If you enjoy these narrations, if you think that this is a fun little side project and you want to throw a few bucks my way, it's not required, but always appreciated. It's a good way to kind of show your support for what I've been doing. In any case, I have been loving The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. It is so much fun. The book is just lighthearted and full of, I don't know, it's hard to explain why I like it so much, but it's a really, really good book. So we're going to go ahead and continue with the final two chapters, one tonight, one tomorrow, and then Christmas Eve on Wednesday. I will be pre-recording and then releasing earlier in the day, the night before Christmas. So wherever you are in the world, you should be able to grab it and listen to it, and hopefully listen to it before midnight if that's something that you're interested in. So without further ado, let us switch into the second to last chapter of The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. Chapter 2. When the World Grew Old. The next morning, when Santa Claus opened his eyes and gazed around the familiar room, which he had feared he might never see again, he was astonished to find his old strength renewed and to feel the red blood of perfect health coursing through his veins. He sprang from his bed and stood where the bright sunshine came in through his window and flooded him with its merry, dancing rays. He did not then understand what had happened to restore him to the vigor of youth, but in spite of the fact that his beard remained the color of snow and that wrinkles still lingered in the corners of his bright eyes, old Santa Claus felt as brisk and merry as a boy of 16 and was soon whistling contentedly as he busied himself fashioning new toys. Then Ak came to him and told of the mantle of immortality and how Claus had won it through his love for little children. It made old Santa look grave for a moment to think he had been so favored, but it also made him glad to realize that now he need never fear being parted from his dear ones. At once he began preparations for making a remarkable assortment of pretty and amusing playthings, and in larger quantities than ever before. For now that he might always devote himself to his work, he decided that no child in the world, poor or rich, should hereafter go without a Christmas gift if he could manage to supply it. The world was new in the days when dear old Santa Claus first began toy-making and won, by his loving deeds, the mantle of immortality. And the task of supplying cheering words, sympathy, and pretty playthings to all the young of his race did not seem a difficult undertaking at all. But every year, more and more children were born into the world, and these, when they grew up, began spreading slowly over all the face of the earth, seeking new homes, so that Santa Claus found each year that his journeys must extend farther and farther from the Laughing Valley, and that the packs of toys must be made larger and ever larger. So at length he took counsel with his fellow immortals how his work might keep pace with the increasing number of children, that none might be neglected. And the immortals were so greatly interested in his labors that they gladly rendered him their assistance. Ak gave him his man-kilter, the Silent and Swift, and the Nook Prince gave him Peter, who was more crooked and less surly than any of his brothers. And the Ryle Prince gave him Neuter, the sweetest-tempered Ryle ever known. And the Fairy Queen gave him Whisk, that tiny, mischievous but lovely fairy who knows today almost as many children as does Santa Claus himself. With these people to help make the toys and to keep his house in order and to look after the sledge and the harness, Santa Claus found it much easier to prepare his yearly load of gifts, and his days began to follow one another smoothly and pleasantly. Yet after a few generations his worries were renewed, for it was remarkable how the number of people continued to grow, and how many more children there were every year to be served. When the people filled all the cities and lands of one country, they wandered into another part of the world, and the men cut down the trees in many of the great forests that had been ruled by Og. And with the wood they built new cities, and where the forests had been were fields of grain and herds of browsing cattle. You might think the master woodsman would rebel at the loss of his forests, but not so. The wisdom of Og was mighty and far-seeing. "The world was made for men," said he to Santa Claus, "and I have but guarded the forests until men needed them for their use. I am glad my strong trees can furnish shelter for men's weak bodies and warm them through the cold winters. But I hope they will not cut down all the trees, for mankind needs the shelter of the woods in summer as much as the warmth of blazing logs in winter. And, however crowded the world may grow, I do not think men will ever come to Burzee, nor to the great Black Forest, nor to the wooded wilderness of Braz, unless they seek their shades for pleasure and do not destroy their giant trees." By and by, people made ships from the tree trunks and crossed over oceans and built cities in far lands, but the oceans made little difference to the journeys of Santa Claus. His reindeers sped over the waters as swiftly as over land, and his sledge headed from east to west and followed in the wake of the sun. So that as the earth rolled slowly over, Santa Claus had all of 24 hours to encircle it each Christmas Eve, and the speedy reindeer enjoyed these wonderful journeys more and more. So year after year, and generation after generation, and century after century, the world grew older, and the people became more numerous, and the labors of Santa Claus steadily increased. The fame of his good deeds spread to every household where children dwelt, and all the little ones loved him dearly, and the fathers and mothers honored him for the happiness he had given them when they too were young, and the aged grandsires and granddames remembered him with tender gratitude and blessed his name. All right, that is where we are going to call it a night for tonight. Short chapter, but I've got to stay on schedule, otherwise I'll be missing a day. So join me again tomorrow night for day 23 of the 24 days of Christmas when we get into the final chapter, The Deputies of Santa Claus. Again, this has been an awesome book. It started with about 5 chapters of kind of like Santa's childhood as a little kid, baby, all the way to like, let's say, young adulthood. And then it went through kind of the story of how he became Santa Claus, and now it's kind of getting into the closing of the end of his story and the continuation of his deeds as a jolly old elf, bringing joy and service to all the little kids around the world. So, again, if you want to go back and listen to any of the previous episodes of the 24 Days of Christmas, my playlist is right there. It's a YouTube playlist. All of these episodes should be listed there, and you should be able to go back and rewatch any of the things that I've narrated. Again, we started with A Christmas Carol. That was about 11 days. We went to The Gift of the Magi, which is just a single day, really short story, but a good story. A little bit somber, but good. I then did a little bit of an audiobook demonstration. You might have noticed even in this live stream, I made a couple of mistakes as I was reading. I'm reading this cold. I have not pre-read any of these stories. I kind of know the idea, and I know the story of the A Christmas Carol, but I've never read the book. So for me, it's just cold reading through these, make a couple mistakes. But if you're producing an audiobook, you can always go back and correct them as you go, which is what I do. So a little bit of a demonstration on that on, I think, the 13th day of the 24 Days of Christmas. And then from there, I've been reading this one, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, recommended to me by a friend, Taylor Garvin. Great friend, and great recommendation from him. And so we'll be wrapping this one up. And then, as I mentioned, on the Christmas Eve, the 24th day of the 24 Days of Christmas, I will be narrating The Night Before Christmas. And I will be releasing that earlier in the day, probably around noon Pacific time. So hopefully wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to put it on in the evening, maybe before you have dinner, maybe after dinner, just to kind of get that story going before you go to bed, before you open any pre-Christmas presents or anything that your families do traditionally. And that one there, I'm also not going to have any intro or outro. I am just going to start the recording, read the story, and then turn off the recording. But all of those will be live on YouTube, and so you guys can go back, just scan this QR code, and you can go and take a look. So hopefully you guys are having a wonderful holiday season. We are in the final stretch leading up until Christmas. If you are a Hanukkah celebrator, then I think you guys just wrapped up Hanukkah. I think that was yesterday, day 8. So happy Hanukkah. If you celebrate Diwali, Kwanzaa, anything else, happy holidays to you as well. And to everybody else, Merry Christmas, and I will see you guys tomorrow night for day 23 of the 24 Days of Christmas. Good night, everybody.